Hi, everybody. I'm Teri Easton, founder of Atlanta Acne Specialists, and we started a series of interviews with our existing clients so they could tell their story. And my friend Brittany Julius has decided to join us today, and I'm excited to tell her story because she's a little bit different. She's special to me. Might cry just a little bit because Brittany found us on Yelp, right?
Yes, correct.
And that was about 5 years ago, I believe.
Yeah, 3 or 4 years ago. I
Okay.
reached out. Yeah, I reached out one point and I was trying other products and I'm like, okay, it's getting a little better. So like, I won't like bother her. And then it didn't get better. And then I reached out a second time because I was like ready to commit. So
Gotcha.
yeah.
I was thinking it was longer ago than that, but I guess not. So, but you traveled from Memphis multiple times to come and see us. So, not going to hate on anybody, but people that don't want to drive for an hour, talk to my friend Brittany. But Megabus, she came down here like 6 or 7 times, I think,
Yes, and
something like
each
that.
time it was just for that. Like I would go for the appointment and come right back.
Just crazy. I tried to get you not to. You wouldn't listen to
You
me.
did. You said it works without you coming in, but I wanted to come in.
And it was so flattering because one time you're like, there's just something about when you put your hands on my face, I just know that everything is going to be okay. And I was like, oh, that makes me so happy. So now that we know a little bit, because the other part of it is you were graduating from school, and
Uh-huh.
I know you were looking to get a job here in Atlanta, so you could be close to me. But then you got this great job offer in Seattle, so you
Yep.
moved across the country instead.
Yep. And
And
I
so
was
you're still out there,
I am still out here.
okay?
I am still planning to come back down south. Atlanta is that's my goal.
Oh,
So
oh, I can't wait to have you back. That would be super awesome. But of course, you
yes.
have to do what's best for your career and all that stuff in the meantime. So I guess tell me a little bit more about maybe what I haven't shared already, how you found us. Were you just Googling before you found us on Yelp and how you got here?
Yeah, so around 2015, I started like breaking out seriously. Like it was beyond the occasional, hey, there's a pimple here, there's a pimple there. It started to, I felt like I couldn't control it anymore. And so I started going to dermatologists and they put me on antibiotics and then that like made it worse. And it just felt like this never ending process. And I tried to do it by myself with diet changes, and that becomes overwhelming. And Teri can tell you, like, I am a stressor by nature. And so it's like nothing was working. And so maybe around 2016, I started using these other products. And I was then introduced to the whole chemical peel situation, something that I had never tried. And so had great results. That was around 2016. I saw great improvement. But then it's like I hit a wall and it just started coming back. And so I kept thinking like, oh my goodness, I'm trying with the diet. I completely gave up dairy and it's like something is still missing. And so 2017, I started breaking out again. And I literally exhausted all options in Memphis, like tried every dermatologist, every med spa, just everything. And what I found is I just kept spending hundreds of dollars in products that I just did not use. I have sensitive skin. So I would like break out from the products and they tell you to push through, but it's like, this is my face. I'm in school. I want to go on interviews because I'm about to graduate and it just was not working. And so I reached out to Teri on Yelp, and I would be lying if I was skeptical because once you've been in my shoes,
Yeah.
like, or people that have dealt with it, it's like, okay, this is another, like, I have to use her products and then it'll work and then it'll stop working.
Yeah.
And so that's how I felt. And so when I reached out initially, I had just started with some more products. And so I'm like, okay, I'll give this a try. And you were very like completely honest, like, hey, if you're not ready. Like, I am not going to push you. We're here if you need us. And so those products worked for a while, and then it started back again. And so I think summer 2017 is where I said, hey, if I have to drive to Atlanta, I'll do it. And so I have been using your products literally since the summer of 2017. I have not tried anything else. I think that whole summer I came back and, drove to Atlanta, turned right back around, came back. And my sister came on the first visit for like moral support because I was just so tired.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if I'm doing this, spending money, like I want this to work. And I think the last in-office visit I had with you was January 2018. Mm-hmm. And so since then, that's 3 years now, I have not been in the office for any treatments.
Yeah.
And I faithfully use your products. Like now, just going outside without having to put on like piles of makeup. Mm-hmm. Amazing. So
wonderful to hear. It like sings to my heart because it sounds so fishy when you're like, oh, you have to use all of it. And, and I don't want people to start if they're not able to do the whole thing because it doesn't work. It's kind of similar to what you were saying, like you've changed your diet, you talk to the doctors, you try these different products. And when you do everything all at the same time, then that's when things start to happen, and everything kind of like is cumulative, like works on top of the other. And there was something else you said that I wanted to talk about. I'm sure it'll come back to me. And I was so glad that your sister came because I remember thinking like, you just drove straight here and you're going to turn around and drive back? You're not going to stay the night or something? You got to be exhausted because that's like 12 hours in the car for a 1 hour appointment.
Yeah. And the first time she came for the first time, but Teri, no lie, like I had already started using the products and I saw some improvement, but I wanted it like quick. So when I came, so when I came in, it was the nervousness, like, oh my God, this just not going to work. And I just drove all of this, but the second and third and fourth time, like I had energy because it was like working.
Right.
So, and then it almost was like a sick obsession because I'm like, I have to go in and she has to touch my face. Like, yeah. So after that, my personality is I get overwhelmed and exhausted, but once I see something is working, like, I'm all in. Yeah.
What would you say was the hardest part of the program? I mean, I think for you, it's a little bit different. I would say if I were to say it would probably be just the distance of getting here. But was it your biggest challenge of the program itself? And how'd you get past it?
I think the biggest challenge was I'm a worrier. So it was like, just trust the process. That was my biggest challenge, like just trusting the process.
Right. Because you trusted so many other things that didn't work. Right. So, and that's one of the things I was going to say is, when I found this certification, I was just as skeptical as you guys. I'm like, this is another MLM. I don't know about this. Is this like professional or is this some kind of, whatever? And then my client who pushed me to invest in the certification and do the training and take the test and order the products. I'm not kidding. She was on me every month. Are you ready yet? Do you have it yet? Is it here yet? I'm ready to go. And so when I got her clear in just under 3 months, I was like, stop, this is real. And so, I recently had a client that was like, so I'm breaking out more, but I'm supposed to push through it. I'm like, it's bringing stuff to the surface. And I know it sounds crazy because it sounds like I'm just trying to sell you some products, but it really isn't. It's like we have to wait for all that stuff to come up and out. So the vast majority of people are just as skeptical. And it's so hard to be like, it really does work if you just do it. So I love that was like, okay, I'm gonna trust one more time, and then here we are.
Yeah, and it's so funny because I remember a time where I started like in July of 2017, and it just like progressively got better. And I never hit that situation to where it got worse before it got better. But I'll never forget, it was like November or December. It was around the holidays. And I was so excited, like, you know, back when it was normal to have gatherings. I'm like, oh, my skin is going to be so clear and perfect. And I remember feeling like a bump on my cheek. And I like text you and I'm just like, Teri, it's not working. And then looking back at it, it's just like, girl, you had one bump in like 3 months, when it was one point, like I was waking up every day to like 2 or 3 new bumps. So trusting the process and like pushing through that, and then keeping pictures to like remind you. It's like that one bump that you may have is very different from the 3 that you have like on one spot. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Or the, 50 that you had, when you first started. Because, it's funny because I'll tell people to take your pictures, take them every 2 weeks. I think some people might take them every day because it's like, okay, is it getting better? Is it getting better? But, and I'll tell people, like, the difference between week 1 and week 3 and week 3 and week 5, it's not so much. But when you look at week 1 and week 12, that's when it's like, oh, wow, I've already forgotten how bad it was.
Yep.
So speaking of, can I show your pictures?
Sure.
Let's see, share screen. Now I recall, so these were, you're right, July 2017 and then January 8th. So 7 treatments in about 6 months. And I recall you being super dry at this bottom one in January. I guess that was your last treatment.
Yeah.
And so that's something, so the hyperpigmentation has lifted, the pigment, the, breakouts were gone, the skin is way smoother, it's brighter, still glowing. And I think this is probably something to, point out to people, is like, more product is not better. A lot of times it's like, but I'm still breaking out, so I really want to, slather it on. Or, maybe there was a client a while back. She was super dry, peely, I was like, what's going on? Kind of hammered things out. Tell me how you're doing this and how much of that you're doing and da-da-da. And she was doing her serum twice in the morning, because she's like, I just love how my skin feels when I put it on. Like, you are peeling the heck out of your skin. Stop doing that. So like, more product is not better. We tell you how much to use and in what order and how often, and just kind of take all the guesswork out of it, so that you don't, it's like you're not on your own when you buy our products. That we really are here to help and support and hopefully make it easier. Where, I feel like most people have, been sold products or told to use this or that, and then that's kind of the end of it. And so, I know we talked a lot via email and chat through that process, just because it's such a stressful thing to go through. You do need some moral support. So I'm always happy to do that, So.
Yeah, and you answer text messages. Like, it was never, regardless of how the time difference, I would send a text message first thing in the morning. I got a response. It was never like, okay, you're being dramatic. Even things that were not necessarily, I remember once I guess I had an allergic reaction to something else, like something bit me or something. And I had something under my eye, and totally not related to like any products, because at that point I had been using them for years. Right. And like, you talked to me like, hey, use this and try this, and something that just you didn't have to respond to or answer. And so I'm so appreciative of that. And maybe some individuals may struggle with the discipline, but that's the part that I really loved about the program, because like you mentioned, they'll give you, you go to the doctor or a med spa and they'll say, oh, just try this. And no, it's like you said, lather this, put this on, wait, put this serum on, put this hydrating gel on. And I mean, looking back, it's just like, it worked so beautifully together.
I'm so glad. It's, it's like magic in a way. Like, it sounds really like over the top to say it like that, because it isn't. But when you take into account all the different acne triggers and the different products you've been using, and you just stick to one thing and you do the straight and narrow for 3 to 4 months, and then, oh my gosh, it's really awesome. So I have clients that are like, you are with me for life because
Yeah.
there's not anything else that works. And then I still have people that are like, oh, all right, I'll try this. I'm like, no, this isn't something to try. Like, this is really like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to change. It's kind of like a diet and lifestyle if you want to lose weight in a healthy way, right? And keep, not just lose it for an event, but to keep it off for the long term. You're going to keep moving your body and keep eating healthy and keep drinking water and all that stuff. But this, it's like, okay, this is how you take care of acne prone skin. You do your regimen twice a day like this, and remove these things from your diet and change these things in your lifestyle. And, in 3-ish months, you'll be way better off than where you are today. So,
yeah. And you even went beyond just the cleansing products, because I know for me, and a lot of African Americans, or just people that have hyperpigmentation, it like not breaking out is one thing, but then you're stressed and worried about the dark spots that it leaves behind. And you like, now I still use the Priya makeup to this day.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's so great. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's interesting is all of the clients that I've talked to today for my interview are all people of color.
Oh, wow.
And it's so funny because somebody said something about being a woman of color, and I looked at my list and I'm like, everybody's a woman of color today. And so, a lot of times that's the question that we get is like, okay, you're a white girl. Do you know how to treat my skin? And, like, absolutely. We see men and women, Asian of all different varieties, African American, Muslim, like we've got a little bit of everything. So that's kind of the cool thing is there are certain things that we have to pay attention to when we deal with different ethnicities, but it all works because it's all skin, and it all kind of is the same, per square inch. But we have to worry about the pigment and, melanin more than anything, and just making sure you don't get too dry. So.
Yeah, and it hasn't like I've used some in the past before where it makes you like lighter or gives you like this ashy look, and even before I remember before using your products, when you were stressing, you have to use your SPF daily. You have to use that daily. And because I felt like I have a combination kind of where it's like super dry, but then it gets oily. And so I was always nervous about like creams and like moisturizers.
Yeah.
But when I tell you it works wonder, like I mix it in with my makeup, the Priya makeup, and that's how I kind of like make my foundation. And I get so many compliments. I've gotten so many compliments, like if I put makeup on, and it's like, oh, your skin is just glowing. And it's just like, let me tell you.
It's the best when somebody else opens the door, right? Because you can't be like, oh, you should see my friend Teri because she could really help you out. Can't do that. But when somebody else says, what are you doing with your skin? It looks so great. You're like, okay, have I got a story for you?
Yes.
And what I love about the SPF is it goes on sheer. It doesn't make you look gray or ashy or white. It's got the moisturizer built in. So that's just one less step that you have to do. And it's funny because I get a lot of people that are like, I'm not going to get a burn. I don't need to wear sunscreen. I'm like, you need to wear sunscreen every day because you have skin. And that's all, he's like, you are going to worry about wrinkles and pigmentation one day. So just think about it as a daytime moisturizer and not a sunscreen. But it keeps you from getting dry and dehydrated. And then you have that oily but peely skin going on. So I'm going to say that's my second favorite product. What's your favorite product in the regimen?
This is so funny because it was my least favorite going in, and now it's my favorite, the acne gel.
Oh, really? Okay. What did you like about it in the beginning?
You said, what didn't I love about it? I was nervous because I had used other products with, what is it? The,
outside.
yes. And you could not tell me any differently that I was allergic to it. I just knew I was allergic to it.
Yeah.
And so I remember like really being hesitant and nervous, and it's like, it works, but then maybe a week or so later, I get these like small bumps, and that's kind of what triggered my first use with antibiotics, because I had an allergic reaction to it. But then again, I was using a face soap with it, and just like how you gradually say, hey, use this strength and then, you know, work your way up to it. It was none of that. It was like washing my face with BP 10% twice a day. And it was just terrible. And so now it's my favorite thing. Like if I feel a bump going on, I use my the virtual skincare Atlanta Acne Specialist, like the little ice,
the ice pack.
Yes, I do that, put it on and go about my day. And so many bumps have just never come, like just never turned into a bump.
Oh, I'd love to hear that.
Yeah.
Love to hear that. Yeah, it's funny because a lot of people do think they're allergic to benzoyl peroxide, and it depends on what they're using and how they're using it. And yeah, our kind of gradual approach really helps people to not have that reaction. Because I tell people, I'm like, if you start using this how I want you to be using it, you're going to be dry, peely, and you're going to not like me at all. But if you do it this way, most of the time, it's pretty amazing. Now, there are a few people that have a true allergy to it.
True allergies.
Like, okay, this isn't going to work, and we'll swap it out with something else. So, let's see. So I have my little questions that I have set up. I'm like, I don't want to forget anything. So if somebody just found us today online somehow, what would be your advice to them if they're like, is this one more thing to try or whatever? What would your advice be for them?
Oh, the same. And you know this, I've said this, so many people have reached out on Yelp like over the years.
Oh, they have? Like, I knew of like 1 or 2 in the beginning or something, but
yeah, 2 in the beginning, I think 2018 or 2019. And then I've had this girl that's been going and we've like been keeping in contact because I'm like, hey, if you reach out on those bad days, like reach out to me because I know what it feels like. Yeah. So
that's so nice to hear.
No, I know what it feels like. And my friends call me dramatic and all of that, but I know what that feels like.
Yes.
You know, feeling like you can't go out without people looking at you when or feeling like you have to wear piles of makeup to hide something. Like I know how that can really impact you. But what I always say to them, like, do it. Like, do it. Seriously. Like, just do it. Yeah. Well, that was my biggest. Oh, I'm sorry. No, I was just going to say that was my biggest regret, like not doing it the first time when I reached out to you. So just do it.
Well, and I understand also, like, and I would have said the same thing anyway, like use what you've already spent the money on. If you can't, if you can't take it back, finish out what you're doing. And when you're ready, let's do it all. But it's great to know that there is a ripple effect. Because one of my clients earlier was saying, so she's a personal trainer, and she was saying that she uses the Clear Skin booklet and gives her clients tips and, helps them certain foods that they should avoid, like especially being, a workout person, the whey and soy protein shakes. And there was something else she was saying that she tells her, birth control and different things that are in that she uses as a tool for her clients. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's so great to know that there are, extra things that are coming along with this, that it's more than just you having better skin too.
Right. Yep.
Super awesome. Let's see, ask for your favorite product. I think I've got everything. Anything else that you had to say or want to share?
No, well, just the fact that I made sure I didn't put on any makeup today. So yeah, like I have
3 years going strong.
Yeah, 3 years without being in the clinic, longer, of course, using the products, but 3 years without in-house treatment and solely your products. And I can't even remember the last time I really put on makeup. I mean, other than being quarantined and really nowhere to go. Yeah. But even before that, like I was super nervous with wearing masks. Like I was hoping I didn't break out, and I've been fine. So I don't have on any makeup and
it looks fabulous. Well, I'm glad to do this because it gave me a reason to put makeup on today. Because when I'm wearing my mask, I'm like, it's just going to get all gross. So there's no point. And even like I haven't worn makeup since April, I think, when I was doing our Facebook Lives while we were shut down. And so I'm like, oh yeah, I get to get made up and feel like a silly girl today. So thanks for being here and chatting with us. So, well, with that, I'm going to say have a wonderful rest of your afternoon. And thank you again for spending time with me and sharing your story.
Oh, no problem, Teri. Thank you so much.
All right. Talk to you soon. Bye.
Okay. Bye-bye.